Disclosure Day opens this Friday, and the box office tracking isn't great. It isn't what you would expect when a master filmmaker like Steven Spielberg, a man with so many hit films to his name, has been at the forefront of the marketing. And I do think there's a temptation to sort of like write off Spielberg or say, well, it's just his time is over. And first off, I don't think that really is a fair assessment. Obviously, he still has it as a filmmaker. West Side Story is incredible. Fablemans is incredible. You can read my full review of Disclosure Day over at Decoding Everything. I think it's a very strong summer blockbuster, certainly putting a lot of his other blockbuster peers to shame. But if you look ahead 1 month at the tracking for The Odyssey, and that film is threatening to be the biggest film of the year. And really the star of that film, yes, it has Matt Damon and Tom Holland and Zendaya and a huge cast, and that shouldn't be discounted. But at the forefront is Christopher Nolan. And I think what you're seeing here is not even necessarily a changing of the guard, but understanding a director as a brand. And I hate to use that term. I think it's very impersonal, but in the scheme of marketing, that is how they're using the director. That's how Universal is using Spielberg. They are putting his name at the forefront of this film, hoping that he will be a bigger draw than even Emily Blunt or Josh O'Connor. And with Christopher Nolan, he has just done a better job of saying, when I release a film, it's going to be an event. And he does things down to a detail where even the font on his movies tends to be the same. It's that same sort of very sans serif, distinctive font. And just to clue you in, this is a Christopher Nolan movie. And then he hits it harder with, I'm making this in IMAX and I care about film as film. And Spielberg also cares about film. He cares about the theatrical experience. But I think it's just sort of a generational thing in terms of how Nolan has been doing this throughout the 21st century. And Spielberg has kind of gone back and forth, especially in the last 15 years or so, where his films would sometimes be about his name, and he was always part of the marketing. But then other times he would be obscured, like Ready Player One. Yes, it's a Spielberg film, but at the forefront of that marketing was all the IP that they had shoved into that movie. Not even shoved. It's why the film exists. But I do feel like when you look at these box office trends, it's not even so much that I think that audiences think Nolan is better than Spielberg, as much as that Nolan is better at marketing himself than Spielberg is at this particular moment.